It just pisses me, and then you're good. Take a break. Yeah, Jake Paul is sweating bullets and has officially cancelled his fight with Mike Tyson out of pure fear. Yesterday he was strutting around like he owned the place, bragging about his win over Mike Perry and claiming he'd knock out Tyson next, but now just because Tyson made a few changes to the fight. On November 15th, Jake's backing out. He says he wants to focus on fighting guys his age, claiming Mike is too big to handle. But let's be real, Mike Tyson isn't some toy you can toss aside when you're not in the mood. This guy means business, and he'd probably take you to the grave for such non-seriousness. And it wouldn't have happened if Jake just stayed home, partied a bit, and hit the gym like a normal person. But no, he had to run his mouth, and now he's facing the consequences. Jake Paul's recent fight with Mike Perry was a spectacle that had everyone buzzing. This wasn't just another boxing match, it was like watching two worlds collide. Perry, a beast in the bare-knuckle fighting championship BKFC, is known for his raw power and relentless aggression. He was the guy everyone dared Jake to face, and Jake, never want to back down from a challenge, stepped into the ring on July 20th to prove himself yet again. You know, I told you exactly what was going to happen. He was big-upping his boy Mike Perry. I said, okay Connor, like after I up Mike Perry. Originally Jake was supposed to fight the legendary Mike Tyson on the same date, but Tyson had to postpone their bout to November 15th due to some health issues. Different date, same fate. I might knock out Jake Paul. So with a gap in his schedule and a need to stay active, Jake decided to take on Mike Perry. Bold move, right? It had everyone on the edge of their seats. This wasn't just a filler fight, it was a crucial step in Jake's career. The world was watching to see if he could take on and beat a seasoned fighter like Perry. Winning this fight would shut up the critics who saw him as just an entertainer and not a real boxer. On the other hand, Mike Perry is no stranger to the world of combat sports. Known for his ferocity and relentless fighting style, Perry made a name for himself in the bare-knuckle fighting championship BKFC. And let me tell you, the BKFC isn't your typical fight scene. It's raw, brutal, and absolutely unforgiving. These fighters throw punches without the cushion of gloves, relying solely on their knuckles. Perry thrived in this savage environment, earning a reputation as one of the most feared competitors in the MMA world. Perry's name is synonymous with aggression and power. His ability to take hits and deliver even harder ones made him a formidable opponent. Fighters who faced him knew they were in for a battle that would test their limits. Perry's record in the BKFC is impressive, with a series of victories that showcased his brutal strength and unyielding determination. He became the benchmark for toughness, and his matches weren't just fights, they were spectacles of raw power and skill. The first few rounds were intense. Perry's aggression was relentless, and he landed several heavy blows, but Jake held his ground, delivering strategic punches that started to wear Perry down. By the fourth round, the momentum began to shift. Jake's endurance and training were paying off, and Perry's initial burst of energy was starting to fade. This victory was a turning point, not just for Jake's career, but for his public image. Jake's decision to fight Perry, despite the risks and the intense public scrutiny, showed his willingness to push his limits and take on the toughest challenges. The fight wasn't just a spectacle, it was a testament to Jake's dedication and resilience. Every punch, every round, and every decision in that ring was a step toward proving his legitimacy as a boxer. The aftermath of the fight was a whirlwind. Fans and critics alike had to reevaluate their perceptions of Jake Paul. He had faced one of the toughest fighters in the sport and emerged victorious. The win solidified his place in the boxing world, silencing many of his detractors, but it also came with consequences. Mike Tyson, who had been watching closely, was concerned. He had warned Jake about the dangers of fighting Perry, knowing the toll it could take. Tyson's advice had been to focus on their upcoming fight, but Jake had chosen to prove himself in the ring against Perry. The physical toll was evident. Jake was bruised and sore, and the recovery process was slow, but Jake seems to have forgotten that when Mike Tyson, a living legend in the world of boxing, gives advice, you don't just shrug it off. Tyson's words, especially about boxing, are gospel. So when he advised Jake Paul against fighting Mike Perry, it was a big deal. Tyson, with his immense experience and knowledge, warned Jake that taking on Perry was a risky move that could jeopardize their own upcoming bout, originally set for July 20th. Tyson's health issues pushed the fight to November 15th. This delay should have given Jake plenty of time to prepare for what would undoubtedly be the most challenging fight of his career. Tyson's concerns were spot on. Perry's fighting style is sheer brutality and raw power, making him a force to be reckoned with. Tyson pointed out that Perry's aggressive approach could lead to serious injuries, potentially sidelining Jake for a long time. For Tyson, the priority was clear: focus on the November fight, avoid unnecessary risks, and ensure peak physical condition for their showdown. Post-fight, Jake was a mess. Bruises covered his body and the soreness was a constant reminder of the brutal battle he had endured. Every movement hurt, every training session was a struggle. The fight had left Jake battered and bruised, exactly as Tyson had predicted. The recovery process was slow and each day was a battle to regain his physical strength and conditioning. But I don't know, my arms are sore today from the injuries from the Perry fight had a direct impact on Jake's preparation for the Tyson bout. Training sessions, which should have been intense and focused, were now all about healing. Every punch thrown in training came with a wince of pain, every dodge and weave a reminder of the previous fights. Told the BR cruises, both visible and deep within the muscles, were not just physical marks, but psychological ones as well. They were a constant reminder of the cost of ignoring Tyson's advice. Every training session had to be adjusted to accommodate Jake's injuries. Sparring partners had to be cautious, trainers had to be mindful of the pain, and Jake had to constantly gauge his limits. This was far from ideal preparation for a fight against someone like Tyson. The bruises and soreness were not just physical barriers, but psychological ones as well. They eroded confidence and made every punch feel heavier, every movement slower. And now just imagine a man who's hurt all over and then something comes out of nowhere to make it even worse. That's what happened when Mike Tyson announced a major rule change for his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. Tyson decided to switch things up by introducing 8-0 gloves, and the boxing world went nuts. Typically, professional boxing matches use 10-0 gloves, which strike a balance between protection and performance. They provide enough padding to cushion the blows while still letting fighters feel the impact. But Tyson's move to 8-0 gloves meant a drastic reduction in padding, leading to harder hits and a much higher risk of injury. This change in gloves had a massive impact on the dynamics of the upcoming fight. With 8-0 gloves, the exchanges between Tyson and Jake would be more brutal for Jake Paul. This rule change added a whole new layer of complexity to an already daunting challenge facing Mike Tyson. Is a monumental task under any circumstances, but doing so with 8-0 gloves significantly raised the stakes. The prospect of enduring Tyson's powerful punches with minimal padding was enough to give any fighter pause. Coupled with Jake's recent bout with Mike Perry, which left him battered and bruised, the situation became even more precarious. Jake Paul's decision to cancel the fight with Tyson wasn't made lightly. The combination of his physical condition post-Perry fight and the new glove rule played crucial roles in this decision. The injuries Jake sustained from the Perry bout were serious: bruises, soreness, and the slow recovery process made it clear that he wouldn't be in peak condition by the time the fight with Tyson rolled around. Training sessions were compromised, and every attempt to push through the pain was a stark reminder of his current limitations. The introduction of 8-0 gloves only made these concerns worse. Jake's team understood the increased risks associated with these gloves. The narrative wasn't just about fear, it was about making a calculated choice in a sport where the physical and psychological stakes are incredibly high. The cancellation became a major talking point, not just in boxing circles, but in mainstream sports media. The decision highlighted the brutal realities of professional boxing, where decisions are often made with both short-term outcomes and long-term career implications in mind. For Jake Paul, this was a moment of reckoning, a decision that would shape public perception and his future in the sport. As the news cycle continued, the conversation evolved. What started as shock and disappointment began to shift towards a deeper understanding of the complexities involved in such a decision. The introduction of 8-0 gloves, the physical toll from previous fights, and the strategic considerations all played a part in shaping the narrative. Jake Paul's choice to cancel the fight with Tyson was a significant moment in his career, reflecting the harsh realities of a sport where every decision can have profound implications.